Hi, everybody. My name's Nikki Nordell. I'm with the Financial Aid Office here at Texas Tech University. And I have today with me Whitney Longnecker, who is the Director of Study Abroad, and Wendeley Flores, who is the Director of Prestigious External Student Awards. So we're going to just share a little information with you today about how to fund your study abroad experience. So our agenda just kind of looks like this. We'll start with a little bit about Red to Black peer financial coaching. Then Wendeley will talk to us about some prestigious external awards. Whitney will talk to us about the competitive scholarship, the SACs. And I'll come back and talk to you about how to fund using your financial aid. And then we'll finish up with a few next steps. All right, so Red to Black is a peer financial coaching organization that's here on campus, and they are nationally ranked #1 for the services that they provide. They are a free service due to the fees that you pay, and so I would suggest that you take advantage of their services while you are here on campus. If you were to use their services after you graduate, when they have become personal financial planners themselves, you would have to pay a high fee for that. So take advantage of them while you can here on campus. Some things that Red to Black can do is they can help you to plan your budget as you are getting ready to go abroad. They have students that are personal financial planner majors, and they are here to be able to help you with anything that you need. They do come into classes to do presentations. Sometimes you might see them at booths around campus, but they do have financial coaches that you can set up a one-on-one appointment with if you need to. They can talk to you about credit and debt, helping you with your credit score, helping you pay off some debt if you have that, with some money basics, making some spending plans, making a budget like I talked about. If an emergency comes up, helping you be able to fund that. Once you know what your financial aid is, whether it's for study abroad or for just your general semesters, they can help you be able to maximize that financial aid so that you get the most benefit out of it to use for not only your schooling, but your living expenses as well. And then when you get ready to start your first job, you may have questions about the benefits or insurance, and they can help you with that as well. So you can make an appointment with them. Of course, during this fall semester, while we are in limbo as to whether we're meeting in person or doing virtual appointments, I'm not sure exactly how they're handling their office, but I would suggest just go ahead and try to schedule an appointment. If they can't see you face to face, I'm sure that they'll make a way to either have a phone call with you or to meet with you virtually. Here are some of the steps that you can follow there to get that appointment scheduled. And then they also are located in the Student Union building on the 2nd floor, up above Barnes & Noble, so you can know where to find them. And there's also their phone information if you need to give them a call. All right, so Wendeley is going to take over now and give us some information about some prestigious external awards that you can use for your time abroad.
Hi, everyone. Like Nikki said, my name is Wendeley Flores, and I'm the Director of the prestigious External Student Awards Office here at Texas Tech. And I partner with the Study Abroad Office and with the Financial Aid Office to help students that are seeking funding for study abroad and to kind of give them a starting point on scholarships that might be out there. So, sorry, I skipped a slide. So the way that my office traditionally helps students is I help high achieving students find external awards, particularly prestigious awards to apply for. And that is a long process that involves long application processes. It involves some advising, some help with essays, things like that. And sometimes I work with students from anywhere from 1 to 2 years as they're pursuing these goals. And so because of that type of setting, and that type of work that I do, I try to help students as well when they're trying to apply for study abroad scholarships, which are prestigious. So I'm going to send you, or actually I'm going to provide you a website. It's www.pesa.ttu.edu. And on that website, you can find some scholarships that I'm going to share with you for study abroad. If you go to that website and you click on scholarship and applicant info, there is a study abroad link there. And so those are the scholarships that I'm going to talk to you about now. So on the screen, you'll see now just a few that are highlighted, but then I'm going to talk about the other ones that are on the website. So the first one is the Gilman Award, which is an award that's for Pell Grant recipients. And they award up to $5,000 per semester for study abroad, or up to $8,000 if you're studying a critical need language. They have those languages listed on their websites, but some of them include Arabic, Chinese, Swahili, and much more. So you can look on their website and find out exactly what qualifies as a critical need language. We hold separate workshops for the Gilman Scholarship to help you learn about the application process and what it is you need to do to be more competitive in that scholarship. If you want to join one of those workshops, you can visit the Study Abroad website, and under funding sources or funding resources, they will have a link to those workshops so you can register. It's the same area where you registered for this particular workshop. The other award is the Bourne Awards that we have listed here. This one in particular is for critical need language study. And so students will go abroad to study a critical need language. They can get up to $10,000 for semester programs, $8,000 for summer programs for STEM undergrads, or even up to $20,000 for, $25,000 actually, for academic years. And if you're a graduate student, then you can get up to $30,000. So these awards, again, are very generous. And so again, my office provides help with applying for these awards. So please reach out if you're interested in that one. This one does have a national security component to it. That's the interest, and that's why they're wanting students to learn these languages. So there is a service component that is tied to this award. After receiving it, they ask students when they graduate to commit to 1 year of service in an area of national security. You have 7 years from graduation to complete that. And so basically that would entail you finding a job in a federal agency that somehow relates to national security and do that for a year. The next award that I have listed here is the Phi Kappa Phi Awards. We do have a Phi Kappa Phi chapter on campus. You do not have to be a member to be able to apply for the Study Abroad Award. They give up to $1,000 grant, but you do have to have a minimum GPA of 3.75 to apply for that. So on the website that I mentioned to you, you have a list of scholarships there, and I'm not going to go over every single scholarship, but I want to give you some examples of the different categories where these scholarships fall. So the first category is competitive and merit-based awards. And so there you'll see the TTU Study Abroad Scholarship listed. And you will hear more about that in just a moment. The Honors College also has a Study Abroad Scholarship. And so if you are an Honors College member, then you are eligible to apply. You do not have to go to one of the Honors College Study Abroad programs. You just have to be a member of the college. There's other awards like Golden Key that are listed here. And the reason that those are listed is I want to make you aware that honor societies that you're a part of do have scholarships available most of the time. And so you want to look at those websites and see if you're paying a due to a certain organization, see if they offer scholarships. A lot of times they do, and a lot of times they have study abroad ones. So make sure you look at all those. Another example on this website is an award that goes to former Girl Scout participants that have won the silver or gold award. I know that not everyone has been a part of that, but maybe you were an Eagle Scout. Then go to their website and see if they have something similar. I have a few others listed under this category that are just awards that I just found by Googling study abroad scholarships. And so it's just a reminder that you can do the same. You can do a web search and you can find quite a bit of scholarships that you might want to pursue. The only thing that I do caution you on is that if you do an online search, make sure that the scholarships you're trying to apply for do not ask for an application fee or your Social Security, because if they're asking for either of those two things, then they may be, they're probably scams. So stay away from those. But there are a lot of good ones out there. They may be smaller, but still they add up. So you want to look for those. The next category is the Financial Need Awards. And these awards are like the Gilman that I've already talked about, that do require you to receive Pell Grant or demonstrate financial need. And so there's a few listed there. So again, you want to look at those if you're eligible. Another category is Language and Cultural Exchange Awards. The reason I've moved these to a separate area is because they are more focused, again, on the language or on doing a cultural exchange. So you may not necessarily be following or studying for a specific major, but it's more of a cultural language exchange. So the Critical Language Scholarship is one that's very prestigious and very competitive. So my office does help with that award. This is to do that, study a critical language. It's an 8-week program, and they have specific languages on their website that are eligible for this. And this program is completely funded if you win this award. So this is a very nice one. And then we also have Fulbright UK Summer Institutes, which are more of a cultural exchange program. There's different universities in the UK that the Fulbright partners with, and they offer a summer program, I believe 3 to 6 weeks, where you can, 3 or 4 week programs, where you can just have a cultural exchange at a specific university based on your interests. Sometimes they'll have something that's focused around technology, or they may have something that's more focused in the humanities. So they have options for you to choose from. Again, if you apply for this and you win this award, then you're fully funded. Your airfare is covered, your lodging is covered, and I think for this one, all you'll need is a little bit of spending money for food and extra things. Other awards that are out there, there's internships. DAAD Rice Germany is a good one that offers internships abroad, and it's fully funded. I also have a list of a couple of databases or links to a couple of databases across the university. So the Study Abroad office has their own page on their website that has different scholarships and a kind of a little database that you could go through. So they have a bunch of scholarships that you can look into. And then the scholarship office at Texas Tech has an external scholarships database where you can look for just scholarships in general outside of the university. And the reason that I mentioned that last one is because when you're applying for scholarships for study abroad, you may find that after a while you run out of scholarships that you're eligible to apply for. But you can still continue working on this by applying for scholarships for the next academic year. So for example, let's say you're going to study abroad this coming summer and you run out of awards to apply for, you can still apply for scholarships for the next academic year. And if you have to get a loan for the summer for the study abroad, you can always use whatever scholarship funding you get in the fall to help pay back some of those loans. So think about scholarships within your major or anything that makes you unique that you can look for scholarships for. So for example, there's weird ones like if you're left-handed, or if you like green bean casserole, if you're a cancer survivor, so many different things that they have scholarships for. And so do some searches on that and apply to as many as you can. And in terms of applying for scholarships, that's my advice. Apply for as many as possible. Don't put your eggs all in one basket. The Gilman is really generous and they can give up to $5,000. But what if they only give you $1,000? Or what if you don't win it at all? You want to diversify and try to find as many awards as you can. I also advise you to start working on your scholarship applications as early as possible. Make sure that you're writing your essays in advance and getting other people to look at them. The University Writing Center it's called the Undergraduate Writing Center. They can help you, so you can submit your essays to them, and then they'll provide feedback. You can schedule an appointment with them, a virtual appointment with them, and they'll work with you and give you feedback through an oral conversation. And you can just keep working and updating those essays and going back to the Writing Center after you improve them to get additional feedback. For some of those prestigious awards, my office also helps with those, so make sure you reach out to me if you're interested in any of those, because I also will provide additional feedback. But don't rush these. Try to work on them in advance. And once you have one solid essay for one of these study abroad scholarships, then you can kind of use it again for the other applications and just tweak it as needed. Because they're going to ask very similar things. I always tell students that when they do, you do have to invest some time in this, but let's say that you invest 10 hours and you win $1,000 award. You've just won $100. You got $100 an hour, basically. That's what you earned. And so it's certainly worth it. So I encourage you, again, to dedicate some time to this and just do as many as you can. So my contact information is here, pesa@ttu.edu. If you need to email me for any reason or to schedule an appointment, then of course you can do that as well. But good luck.
Thank you, Wendeley. We appreciate it. So next we're going to move on and talk a little bit about the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. So the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship, or the SACS, is one of the scholarships that is available for study abroad through TTU. This is not the only scholarship that is available through Texas Tech University that can be utilized for study abroad, but it's one that we will focus on today. And the reason for that is because we encourage all students to apply for it. So you may not know, or you may not have realized, but every semester or every term that you are enrolled here at Texas Tech University, you are paying a $4 international education fee. You might not have noticed that on your bill each term, but now that you're aware of it, you might find that $4 fee every time that you're taking classes. So what we're able to do is pile up everybody's $4 that they're paying into this scholarship fund. And then we are able to make awards to students like yourselves who are interested in study abroad. So it's kind of a no-brainer to apply. This could be the best return that you receive on a $4 investment ever. So you've got to at least apply for this particular scholarship. Now, the word competitive is not just in the title to make it sound like a really nice scholarship. The scholarship is truly competitive. So we want you to put your best foot forward when it comes to the application for this scholarship, as well as any others that you may be applying for. So we'll go over some tips and tricks to allow you and help you to do that. The scholarships are awarded from a committee that is made up of faculty and staff from around the university, as well as some fellow students. So you want to make sure that you are really doing well on the application and showing the committee that you are deserving of this award. So first of all, how do you know if you're eligible for the SACs? So you do need to be a student who is enrolled at Texas Tech University and you're planning to study abroad. In addition, international degree-seeking students are eligible to apply for the SACs as well. There is a minimum GPA requirement that varies depending on the type of student that you are. So it's a 2.7 for our undergraduate students, 3.0 for graduate students, and then a 2.0 for students who are part of the School of Law. You'll want to apply for your study abroad competitive scholarship well in advance, and applications are due 1 semester prior to when you will study abroad. So on the slide here, you will see kind of a timeline of sorts of when you should be thinking about applications for this particular scholarship. You can start working on some of the elements of this scholarship even prior to this time frame, but you won't be able to actually complete your application until one semester before you go abroad. So for example, if you're thinking about studying abroad during the spring term or the spring semester, you will submit your application for this scholarship in the fall semester prior to that. You can find information about the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship on the Study Abroad website. So our website is just studyabroad.ttu.edu. On that website, you will find a tab that is titled Financial Resources. And on that particular section of our website, there is a whole host of good information about scholarships, financial aid, some of the topics that we are discussing here today. But there is also a section specific to the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. And this is where you will start your application for this particular scholarship. So you'll need to come to the Study Abroad website and then click on the Start Application button to actually be able to access this application form. In addition to our website being the host of this particular study abroad application system, you will also find some good information, including instructions as well as advice for the application. So we recommend that you take a look at these web pages as well as any others that you see here related to the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. And what we know is that students who spend a bit of time reading through the instructions and the advice and the other bits of information here really do put forward a higher quality application for this particular scholarship. So before you get started on your application, take a look at this information because it will help guide you in the right direction. We have listed deadlines for the upcoming terms. So if you are interested in studying abroad during the spring 2021 term, which could include spring break as well as intersession, the application deadline for this is September 25th. And if you are thinking further ahead and you want to study abroad further into 2021, including during the summer, Maymester, fall, or perhaps the next academic year, those applications will open in October and will close on February 15th of 2021. Now, you may be thinking that you want to study abroad at some point further into the future, maybe beyond 2021, and that's wonderful. We commend you for planning so far in advance. Just know that the deadlines that you find here will be similar year to year. So they may vary by a day or two, but generally speaking, the timeframes and the deadlines for applications will be very similar. Also know that there is no exceptions for tardiness to these deadlines. So if you do not finish your application by the stated deadline, we are not able to offer any exceptions or anything of that nature. We want to be sure to honor the students who are able to complete their application by the time frame, and so for that reason, we don't offer any exceptions. So you do want to make sure that you mark these deadlines in your calendar and make sure that you're meeting them. Now, the application has several different parts. I'll talk through some of these here just a little bit. So first of all, you will be presented with a questionnaire that will ask you a number of different questions about, why you might want to study abroad, what your interests are, what your goals are for this opportunity, that kind of thing. And in the questionnaire, you will also be asked to present a budget for your program. So this is a chance where you will highlight the cost of your program. You'll also be asked for other sources of funding and how those sources of funding may contribute to your overall experience and your overall ability to pay for your study abroad program. And then finally, you'll be asked to share how much of the gap it is. So what amount of money are you missing that you are applying for the scholarship and want to use that money towards? So make sure that you have a good understanding of your program budget when you are applying for the scholarship. You will also be asked to present a statement of purpose. And so like I was saying before, some of the questions about why this is an important experience from you and what you hope to gain from your study abroad program are things that you can include in your statement of purpose. One thing I will also encourage you to do is to talk about why you need the money. So some students are a little bit scared or maybe afraid to talk about why they need the money if something has happened in your life that has led you to this point financially. Any of those kinds of things are important to include because it just allows our committee to have a better understanding of who you are and why this scholarship is so important to you. You will be asked to submit transcripts, and we'll talk about how to do that here in a little bit. And then we do also need 2 recommendations. So again, we'll touch on that here in a second. So when it comes to your transcripts, we are looking for your official Texas Tech transcripts. You can request these from the Office of the Registrar, and we have put their physical location on campus up on the slide. It's located in West Hall. However, you may also choose to request your transcripts online, and you can do that as well. So important things to remember is that it does need to be your official transcript, not something that you have printed out from your e-rater or your rater link, anything like that. It needs the official copy. And also we cannot accept faxed copies. So again, needs to be the official version. When it comes to recommendations, there really is, I guess, kind of some skill involved when it comes to requesting recommendations. And there's 2 pointers that we can give to you on that front. First of all, always ask your recommenders early for a recommendation. So you don't want to put your recommenders in a bind and ask them to come up with a recommendation for you with very short notice. When we see that students do that, we often find that the recommendations that are received are very short. They're not very descriptive. They may not just really discuss the student's strengths and why, for example, study abroad is so important to them. So you want to make sure that you are giving your recommender ample time to really be thoughtful about their recommendation and put together a good document for you. Also, in-person recommendations or asking for a recommendation in person is helpful. Now, we certainly know that with the ongoing COVID pandemic, this may be more difficult or perhaps even impossible to do, but I do think that there are some alternatives. Now, the reason for asking for recommendations in person is because it allows you a chance to have a conversation with that person, with your recommender, about why study abroad is so important to you and why this scholarship is so important to you. And that kind of information may be helpful for your recommender when they are developing the recommendation for you. Now, since we are in a completely different environment right now where in-person conversations may be difficult and or impossible, there's a couple things you can do. So for example, if you are wanting to get a recommendation from one of your professors, you may choose to seek out that professor in their online advising hours. You could ask to kind of stay after class of sorts to talk with that person, even if it is a virtual course, or of course, always picking up the phone and just calling is a good way to do this as well. The recommendations will be submitted through your online application. And so when you start your SACS application, you will find that there is a section where you will input your recommenders' information, including their contact information, and then the system will simply send them a form that they will need to complete for your recommendation. So all of the recommendations do need to be logged in your application in this way. We cannot accept like separate letters of recommendation or anything of this nature. You'll want to just have your recommender fill out the necessary form. There are some appropriate recommenders and then inappropriate recommenders that we want you to be aware of. So first of all, your study abroad experience is truly an academic experience, and so your recommenders should be able to speak to your abilities if in an academic nature. Your Texas Tech professors are really going to be the best source for this kind of information. You can also, though, use like TAs, GPTIs, things of that nature if you have a relationship with them because of a course or because of their leadership of the teaching of a course. If you are a first-year student, you are also allowed to receive recommendations from a high school teacher. So you may not have developed those relationships quite yet with the faculty here on campus. And so we do allow for high school teachers to be recommenders, but only during that first year here on campus. Beyond that, you should be developing those relationships and having conversations with your faculty for recommendations. There is a list of inappropriate recommenders that you will find on this screen. So things like your friends, your classmates, significant others, family members. Although these individuals can certainly speak to your abilities, they are not appropriate in this particular case because, as I said before, we want to know about who you are in an academic nature, and some of these individuals may not be able to speak to you, to your abilities with that. So just keep in mind that you really want to be working with those who are involved with Texas Tech and who are teaching and working with you in an academic setting. As Wendeley was saying about starting applications early, we also recommend that in the study abroad office. So do some research now, figure out what scholarships you are eligible for, and start pulling together those components of your applications. That way, when it is time for you to apply, you can do so very quickly and easily. I mentioned the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship and where you will find that on our website, on the Study Abroad website. But in addition, we also have an easy guide to study abroad scholarships, which is a pretty extensive list of scholarships that we have found or that other Red Raiders have applied for or received. So this is not a comprehensive list of all of the scholarships that are out there for study abroad, but it's a really good place to get started, and it may help you think about what other types of scholarships you will want to look for in order to fund your study abroad program. So with that, I will turn it over to Nikki Nordell in the financial aid office, who will tell you a little about using financial aid to fund your program.
All right, guys. So like I said before, my name is Nikki Nordell. I am the financial aid advisor that is located in West Hall that will help you through your study abroad experience. So we're just going to go over the study abroad checklist. And there is a link on our financial aid website under cost to attend Texas Tech. You'll see a link for study abroad. And down at the bottom of the page, there is a link to this checklist. So if you need to look at it later or want one for yourself, that's where you can find it. So the financial aid that you're going to use to help you to study abroad is going to be the same aid that you would use if you were here on campus. And so if you've already filled out a FAFSA for the current school year and you're going to go abroad during the fall or spring of that year, then you've already taken care of what you need to. Also, if you're going to go in the summer and you've already completed FAFSA for the current year, that is the same FAFSA that you would be using for the summer as well. At Texas Tech, summer is a tail end onto the year. So when you get to summer, you may have already used all of your aid eligibility during the fall and spring. And so we'll talk about some options to be able to get some other financial aid that you can use if you're going to go in the summer. If you've not yet filled out a FAFSA for the current year, you can go ahead and get that filled out. If you've never done one before, you and your parents, if you're under 24, have to have an FSA ID, a username and password to sign your FAFSA for you to be able to get that completed. So the information to do that is here on the screen and also on the flyer as well. And then you go to the FAFSA, get it completed. Our school code is 003644. You want to make sure that you sent that FAFSA to Texas Tech and not maybe Health Science Center or something. So if you've got our school code in there, you'll make sure that it goes to the right place. The new FAFSA for the next school year opens October 1st each year. So be ready to go ahead and get that filled out after October 1st. So that you have your financial aid ready for the next school year as well. So if you're planning to go during the summer, something important you need to remember is that you do have to be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours to receive your financial aid in the summer. That's for if you're taking classes just on campus as a regular student, or if you're doing a study abroad program. So maybe you've selected a Maymester study abroad program that only gives you 3 credits. So what you would do is need to enroll in a class either online or on campus during summer 1 or summer 2 to give you those other 3 credits so that you would have your total of 6. If you selected a study abroad program that's already 6 hours, then it's up to you if you take any classes during the other summer term or not. You would already be eligible for your financial aid. There are internships that are available through study abroad, and some of those do not offer academic credit. So if you're needing to use your financial aid and you're wanting to do an internship, as you meet with your study abroad advisor to plan your time abroad, you would want to make sure that you talk to them about needing to get academic credit for that internship to be able to have financial aid to use at that time. With any of your programs when you study abroad, you're going to receive a budget for that program from the study abroad office. They house those on the study abroad website. So when you've picked your program, you should be able to see the budget or the cost of attendance for your program. That budget may be more than it is to be on campus, or it may be pretty close to the same. But once you've committed to your program, I'll go in and adjust your budget on campus to match your study abroad budget so that you can get enough financial aid with scholarships, grants if you're eligible, and then loans to help you cover all of the costs of your program, even for the airfare, your passport, those extra things that are included in your study abroad program that you don't have to have for your time on campus. So anything that you're awarded on RadarLink, you'll be able to use towards your study abroad. So if you're going during a fall or spring and you've already been awarded from completing your FAFSA, anything that's listed there for that semester, you would be able to use towards your study abroad experience. We haven't started awarding yet for summer. We generally award for summer around spring break. So when we do the awarding for summer, anything listed on RadarLink you can use towards your study abroad time. So a lot of times the financial aid, like I said, may not cover all of your study abroad costs. So that's where those scholarships that the other ladies have talked about come in as an important piece. You want to apply for as many scholarships as you can so that you have that free money to help you with your time abroad. But if you don't get as many scholarships as you want, there are always loans that are going to be available. So we'll go over some of those loan types here so that you have that information if you need it. So graduates and undergraduates alike would be eligible to have loans that you can use to pay for a regular semester or for your study abroad. And so you can see a few of those types listed. So the first one is the federal direct loan. When you fill out your FAFSA, you're offered Pell Grant if you're eligible for Pell Grant. And then you're also offered student loans based on your grade classification and your dependency status. So you can see the breakdown here on the chart. So freshmen receive $5,500, sophomores get $6,500, and then juniors and seniors can have $7,500 if you're a dependent student. So most of the time when you have your FAFSA, you've probably used those subsidized and unsubsidized loans already during the fall and spring. and may not have any of those loans left over to use for the summer. But if you change classification from a freshman to a sophomore, or from a sophomore to a junior after the spring semester, then you would have an extra $1,000 that we would be able to offer to you in the summer for you to be able to put towards your program. The next option would be a Parent Plus loan. If you're a dependent student, your parents can apply for a Parent Plus loan. That's a loan that's in their name, and if they're approved, they can get that loan approved for a fall spring semester or for a summer semester. If they get denied, we can give you an extra $4,000 while you're a freshman or sophomore, or an extra $5,000 if you're a junior or senior. That would be on your unsubsidized loan. That would be in your name at your interest rate, but they would have to apply and be denied first. So if they're denied, they can only get that denial one time during the year. So if they've already been denied during the fall spring, then they couldn't be denied again in the summer to get any extra funding, just once during the year. But if they're approved, they could be approved for fall spring and then again for the summer, if that's an option that you want to go. If your parents don't want to take a loan in their name, they don't have to. That's just an option that's available. The next option would be a college access loan. It is a loan that's through the state of Texas, and it is for Texas residents. This loan is going to check your credit as a student. If you haven't built enough credit to be approved by yourself, then they're going to ask you for a cosigner. That could be your parents, but it doesn't have to be. It could be any adult that's willing to cosign for you and help you out. The private education loans are also available. Those would be through outside organizations like Sallie Mae, Discover, credit unions, different places like that. Interest is all different with the private lenders, and so you can do a search to help you kind of compare those. If you follow the steps that are on number 2 here on the screen, when you go onto our financial aid website, under borrower resources, you choose private education loan. You're going to see a link for Fast Choice in the section that's about selecting your lender. And Fast Choice is going to let you compare those different private lenders. You can pick 5 at a time. It puts their information side by side like a spreadsheet, so you can compare and see what their interest rates are, what types of loans they offer, and just all sorts of information about them as lenders. If you absolutely don't have anyone who can cosign for you, there are some of these private lenders that will do loans without a cosigner. You might have to trade off with a higher interest rate or maybe an earlier repayment date or something to that effect. But there are some that are available if you get in a bind and you just don't have anybody who can cosign for you. So something that everybody could look into with your study abroad, especially if you're planning to go abroad during the Maymester or during the summer. If you look on your rater link, you'll be able to see what your budgeted cost of attendance is for your time here on campus. And then if you subtract the financial aid that you've already been given for the year, whatever the remaining number is, that's your eligibility to be able to take any of these loans that we just talked about during the fall spring. So if you're planning to go in the summer and you still have eligibility to take a loan during fall spring, you might want to go ahead and apply for your loan before it's time to go abroad, so that when you get your refund, you'll have that money in your bank account that then you can use towards your airfare, to make sure you have your passport and the things that you have to have before you actually go abroad. And then if you still needed a little bit more to supplement, you could take another small loan for the summer if you had to. But if you've got that eligibility during fall and spring, it's always better to have that money in your pocket before you leave the country than be looking for money after you've already gotten there. Make sure that you're checking your Texas Tech email very regularly. Any of our offices that have any requirements that we need from you, this is how we're going to reach out to you to let you know. So you want to make sure you're checking. Lots of times we have people who have missed out on a deadline or something and they say we didn't know. And then we look and you were emailed and just missed it. So make sure that you're checking those emails every day. And then set up your direct deposit with Student Business Services. If you've already gotten that set up, you can leave it the way that it is if you want to. But while you're abroad, you want to make sure you have access to your direct deposit account. If you don't, you may be waiting until you get back to the country before you actually get your refund check. If you've got that direct deposit account that you have access to while you're out of the country, then when the money hits your bank account, you still have access to use it while you're gone. And then scholarships. We've talked a lot about outside scholarships and some other places to find scholarships, but you may already have scholarships. Maybe you have a presidential scholarship that's awarded from the university. If you're going abroad during the fall or the spring, you can still use that presidential scholarship during your semester abroad, as long as you're meeting the full-time disbursement requirement. And then if you're going in the summer, you probably wouldn't be able to use it in the summer, just because most of the presidential scholarships don't have a component that pays in the summer. But if you're an out-of-state student and you have one of these scholarships, so you're also receiving waivers that pay that out-of-state portion of your tuition, you would still receive your waivers for the summer if you are paying your tuition to Texas Tech. If you've selected an affiliate program, of course, we can't tell them to take money off of your tuition, because we do, but anything that's paid to Texas Tech, you still can have those waivers even in the summer if you've chosen to go abroad. If you receive military benefits, most of the military benefits will pay towards your study abroad, but there are some requirements on some of the funds. So you would want to check with the MVP, Military Veterans Programs Office, here on campus to let them determine how much of your financial aid, your military benefits that you can actually use towards your study abroad program. And if you've selected a program that allows those benefits to pay. And then if you have maybe Texas Tomorrow Fund or a 529 or something like that that you're using to help you pay for your schooling, you can still use those for your study abroad. If you've got questions about how that pays out, you can reach out to Student Business Services. They'll be able to assist you with determining how those payments pay out. And then there at the bottom, we've got the searches for external scholarships, the same websites that have already been discussed today. So the scholarships.ttu.edu website, the study abroad website, the PESA website, all of these, and Google are places that you can look for those other scholarships. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that and applying for as many scholarships as you can to benefit you the most through your study abroad experience. And then there's my email address. It's also on the flyer. I will be meeting with students the semester before you go abroad. Of course, right now during the COVID time, we're not actually meeting in person. So if you are planning to go during the spring semester, you can still email me, and if we need to, we can set up a Zoom call or do it over the phone, whichever works best for you, to be able to give you the information that you need. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Whitney for a few final screens, and then we'll get you out of here.
Very good. Thank you, Nikki. So just some reminders here about deadlines. I mentioned and showed a screen of these previously, but we want to make sure that for our most upcoming term that you are aware of the deadlines. So if you are interested in studying abroad for the spring of 2021, which also includes spring break as well as intersession programs, the deadline will be on October 1st of 2020. That is also the same time, or the same date rather, that we will open applications for the next go around of applications. So if you are interested in summer, fall, or the academic year of 2021, those applications will open on October 1st and will be due in March. Like I was saying before about the deadlines that are specific to the SACS scholarship, deadlines for our programs, for the program applications, are basically the same year to year as well. So if you are looking a little bit more towards the future and planning ahead for your study abroad a little bit more, just know that the similar timeframes will be in place. You've met me already. Like was mentioned previously, I work in the study abroad office as the director of our office, but there are a number of folks who are here to support your study abroad journey. I will mention 3 individuals that you may find yourself working with most closely, and those are Lana Sheldon, Emma Smith, as well as Jacob Howell. These 3 individuals are our counselors. So if you are interested in studying abroad and you would like to set up an advising appointment to learn more about the process or the applications, starting your research into the different program options, things of that nature, you'll want to reach out to one of these counselors for support. We've also included some testimonials from some previous study abroad students. So these are Red Raiders like yourself who have been involved with study abroad and have been successful in completion of their programs. So we'll let you just kind of read through some of the quotes that you see up on the next couple of slides. What I want you to walk away with, though, is that funding your study abroad experience is possible, and we have students every semester who are able to pay sometimes for the entirety of their study abroad program through scholarships and financial aid and other funding sources. So it certainly takes a little bit of work and planning and thinking ahead, working on those essays to perfect them. But we know that you can be successful with this just as previous Red Raiders have been as well. We will also leave you with some additional resources. So we've mentioned the Writing Center already, which is a great place to perfect your scholarship essays, but just know that there are other resources out there on campus who are available to support your study abroad journey as well. Our email address for just general study abroad questions is studyabroad@ttu.edu, so you can contact us at any time. We'll leave you with our contact information, but also our social media. So our website is studyabroad.ttu.edu. It's been mentioned several times throughout this workshop, but it is a really great resource for our information about our programs, all of the scholarship details and financial aid information that has been presented today is available there as well. So be sure to check that out as you begin the study abroad process. And then finally, I'll encourage you to follow us on social media. This is a really great resource to not only be kept informed about deadlines and upcoming events, new programs, and things of that nature, but we also use our social media to highlight other students and what they're up to abroad and when they've been successful with scholarship applications and things of that nature. So it's a great way to hear from your peers and learn a little bit more about the study abroad experience, but do so from Red Raiders. So we thank you for joining us today. We hope that this information was helpful in thinking about how to fund your study abroad program. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to us at any time. But thank you. Thank you for being with us today.